Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new channel and new video as well. I'm going to call the channel Multipolar World Order because that's where we are heading, to be led by China, Russia, and Iran. So Russia's going to be looking after the northern hemisphere, Europe. China's going to be looking after mainly Asia, and Iran is going to be mainly looking after the Middle East. And together they'll be taking control of the world, of global south especially, and the new world order, the rising new power. So I'm going to be focusing on news from China, from Russia, from Iran, and how it's all linked to the multipolar world, how we're getting there, and we're also going to cover the fall of the Western Empire as well. So without further ado, let's get started, guys. So the first funny story is Iran has bombed Zelensky's apartment in Dubai. And first I read this and I didn't believe it, but then I started seeing it in all sorts of Dubai articles, and even Saudi articles were reporting it as well. And the funny and the funny thing is, this was a drone used on Zelensky's apartment as well. I thought Zelensky had a team of Ukrainians in Dubai, basically trying to counter drones, but obviously it hasn't worked. They just taken money from the Dubaians by the looks of it. Free money for Zelensky, I guess. But yeah, it's not been a very good day for Dubai yesterday. They got absolutely hammered, guys. So this is what happened. This is the events what happened. Trump said that he's going to escort ships to and from the Hormuz Strait. So a couple of American ships, warships, started going through the Hormuz Strait, and Iran sent them a warning, and they ignored it, and then they got fired upon. And I believe Iranians have said that they got hit, the ships got hit, and one South Korean ship got hit, and one ship in Dubai got hit as well. And that's what you get for believing Trump. You know, Trump has been telling everyone Iran has got no navy. We can go in and out of the strait, no problem. And if you want to go across the strait, just use some courage. Just grow some balls. That's what he said to all the shipping companies. Just grow some balls and just go through the strait. That's what he said. And well, he said that a few months ago, but obviously we know what happened after that. But yeah, so a couple of ships got hit, and they all had to turn back. And immediately, suddenly some explosions happened in Dubai. Some apartments got hit, and Fujairah port got hit as well, pretty badly. Iran has denied it, and there's a lot of people speculation saying that maybe it was Israel that did it to try and force UAE into a war with Iran. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, to be honest. And there was a lot of Emiratis on social media crying about it, saying, "Oh, America, help us! America, why isn't America doing anything? America, help us! Israel, help us!" And they all have Israeli flags in their bio, all have UAE flags in the bio. That's very strange, very, very strange. It's because there's a genocide going on, killing where Israel is killing Palestinians, Lebanese, Arabs mainly, and the people from Dubai or the Emiratis don't seem to complain much or say anything. But when suddenly their country gets attacked, suddenly they have Israeli flags in the bio and Dubai flags in the bio, and they're crying out help from Israel and America. It's absolutely hilarious to watch, to be honest. But Trump's reaction has been completely silent. People have been saying, let me show you. People have been saying Trump didn't respond. He is absolutely scared. That's what people are saying. He is absolutely terrified of Iran, and this is why he hasn't responded. And I wouldn't blame him, guys. I wouldn't blame him. I mean, Iran has given United States a real kicking. Not just United States, but Israel as well, and all the Gulf states surrounding Iran. United States army bases have been absolutely destroyed. We are talking about the major army bases like the Bahrain base, where it hosts, American Fifth Navy Fleet, I believe, and it was a huge Navy installation there, costing billions and billions. And that used to host aircraft carriers and all the massive warships. And the base itself had lots of ammunition and spare parts where ships used to go there to repair itself. And they used to get spare parts from there. They used to get weapons from there. They used to get all the oil and gas and everything. You know, that was a huge base for the Americans. All gone, all lost. There was huge bases in Dubai and Qatar got destroyed. Bases in Saudi Arabia got destroyed. I think all in total, 16, 17 bases got absolutely destroyed. This was confirmed by Western sources like CNN, like other Western sources as well. They have confirmed that American bases have been destroyed more than what um, Trump has basically been honest about. And then you have all the GCC countries got absolutely smoked by Iran. I want to show you this particular video. This particular video shows Iran actually firing some flare missiles. So they fired some flares across Dubai, and Dubai panicked and they started firing hundreds and hundreds of air missiles, hundreds of those. They lost over, maybe I would say they lost over, like people are saying they estimated lost around 100 million in one night. They lost so many anti-air batteries and missiles, all because they wanted to take down some flares. So it just shows economic cost of Dubai and the surrounding GCC countries have been huge. And America is not going to be rearming these countries anytime soon because they have pretty much run out of all the anti-air Patriot missiles, THAAD missiles. And if there are any missiles left, they're all gone to Israel to protect Israel. They're not there to protect the Gulf countries. All of it is gone to Israel to protect them. So the Gulf countries are completely wide open for attacks. They've given them huge amounts of oil. And what did they do with it? They absolutely squandered it. Because if you go to the Gulf countries, it's themselves, apart from Dubai, right? If you go to Saudi Arabia, for example, Saudi Arabia looks like an absolute dump. I'm not joking, guys. I've been to Saudi Arabia. Absolute dump. They have not put any money into Saudi Arabia whatsoever. And all the money seems to be going to Western countries and investing in Western stocks, shares, treasury bonds, and, Western businesses. Even there's talk about Saudi Arabia giving 2 billion to Jared Kushner for a useless business, and they have not even got any money back. They have been paying politicians like Trump, buying them expensive jets, putting money into his business, paying into his Trump coin, for example. Saudi Arabia and especially the Gulf countries have been squandering the money. They have been buying useless American weapons, are completely useless against Iran, as you can see. Completely useless. They are just sitting ducks. Where have they been spending their money on? They have been, Dubai has been putting money into building lavish hotels and, skyscrapers. They've been making Dubai into a luxury, but have they spent money on security? Because they've basically been banking on America protecting them, America and Israel protecting them. And what happened to that? These Gulf countries have absolutely squandered all of their money, all of their cash, while Iran has been building up their military because, you know, it's more important to have security, as a country. That's the first thing you need to do. As a country, you need to secure your borders. You need to have adequate weapons. You need to make your borders secure. You need to make your country secure, and you need to be prepared for any kind of war. And you need to arm yourself to an extent that it becomes very, very expensive for other countries to attack you. And you have to make sure that anyone attacks you will certainly get a huge lesson. You cannot make it easy for them. I mean, Iran knows America is more powerful, more rich, and even Israel as well. But what Iran has done is spent their money wisely. They spent their money on research development, on weapons, building underground systems, building hypersonic missiles, things like that, things that can really hurt the Americans, things that can really hurt Israel, for example. So what they've done is very, very smart. And what have the Gulf countries done? Absolutely nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. So Trump has been last few days absolutely panicking, guys. He is he's panicking to death because the oil prices have gone up to like $120 per barrel or even higher. And and that's a huge, huge problem for United States because Trump has promised, his voting people that voted for him, and especially MAGA, that he would bring energy prices down. He will bring down the cost of petrol by half. He will bring down the cost of energy by half. That's what he promised. He got voted in because he promised a lot of promises, but it mainly have been lies. So what's happening now? The people paying at the gas pumps are paying more. Budget airlines are shutting down because they don't have the jet fuel. Businesses are shutting down, or they cannot operate because of the high inflation, the high cost of fuel, and also because they have to transport that fuel across the world, because America is an import country, so they have to import a lot of goods from China and other parts of the world, and that all, basically needs petrol. Because ships need petrol. If you want to ship by air, that needs jet fuel. So it's become very, very expensive for American businesses. So the only people making money in America are oil barons, oil execs, oil companies. They're the only people making money in America because they are selling oil at a really high price. But that money isn't going to the American people. That's going into the pockets of these, oil companies. So this is what Trump is doing. He's making his friends richer while making ordinary Americans poorer. So they're talking about another deal today, and obviously the price is going down again. The oil price is going down because of it. They're talking about Iran committing a freeze to the uranium enrichments. They want US lifting of sanctions and billions in frozen Iranian funds, and both sides lifting restrictions around the strait. I don't think that's going to happen because Iran knows, you know, controlling the strait is a huge, huge win for Iran. And they cannot rely on sanctions because all it takes is America to have another leader, or maybe even Trump waking up one day and realizing it's a bad deal and let's cancel the sanctions. Sanctions can be lifted, can be put on any minute, any second. So what Iran has is a huge opportunity to become a very, very powerful nation in the world. One of the superpowers of the region. And that includes charging tolls for ships going through. I do not think that Iran will give this away, because it doesn't matter if America lifts sanctions or gives its frozen funds to Iran. That is peanuts compared to what they can make from the Strait of Hormuz or the Strait of Persia. I would say. And just to let you know, whatever deal they come up with, it's going to be much, much worse for the Americans than the JCPOA. The JCPOA was actually a good deal, and it took them 20 years to agree to that deal. 20 years, guys. 20 years of negotiations. And it was a good deal. And that time, the Strait of Persia was open, and Iran's nuclear enrichment was frozen. There was inspectors going in almost every week. So everything was good. And Trump came in and just tore it up. So whatever deal Trump agrees with Iran is going to be basically similar to JCPOA, except the Americans would lose the Strait of Persia, where Iran would be able to make more money through the Strait using the tolls. Plus, they have come out of this war, I would say war, in much better terms. You know, Iran has come out with much more respect. They have got, you know, a huge sense of pride in the country that they fought America and Israel and they won. Huge amounts of pride going through the country at the moment. And this is going to help them rise up even faster. And you're going to see a lot more countries trading with Iran, not just China and Russia, but a lot more countries, even European countries, will have respected Iran for standing up against the Americans. And you will see a lot of countries are going to start trading with Iran over the next few years. And even now, I bet there's already talks going on behind the scenes. Iran's going to be a superpower whether you like it or not, and Trump has done that. Trump has turned Iran into a superpower. So let's talk about the next story. So Iran has recently come out with some rules and regulations regarding the payment of tolls, and they have said that the payment in tolls will be in Iranian rials, and they will also accept Chinese yuan as well. It obviously hasn't mentioned that, but they have said it previously. And it's going to be guaranteed issues with the Iranian banking system. Countries that cause damages during the war must pay reparations before obtaining a permit, which is correct, which is a good thing to do. Countries that sanctioned Iran or blocked its assets abroad are banned entirely, which is bad news for countries that went along with the Americans to sanction Iran. All documents must use the term Persian Gulf. So instead of the Hormuz Strait, they're now going to rename it Persian Gulf. Non-compliance results in vehicles seized and a fine of 20% cargo value. All vessels must be designated corridors and comply with the Iranian Armed Forces instructions. Remember when Trump said Iran has no navy left? So how is Iran closing the Strait of Persia, and how are they escorting the ships? They obviously have a navy to do that, and how are they putting up mines and things like that? So again, do not believe anything Trump says. I mean, it's quite funny. Yesterday, Trump came on. He came on this. He was talking to the press yesterday, and there was lots of kids around him, and he was just lying in front of these kids. In front of these kids, he was talking about war. He was talking about killing. He was talking about how he's won the war in Iran, how many people he's killed. He was being so proud about it, and there was just kids surrounding him, and he's just talking about war and killing in front of kids. And then one reporter said a question to him about how many Iranian protesters died, and Trump said 42,000 Iranian protesters died and were killed. And somebody said, how did they get killed? And Trump said there was 4 or 5 snipers in the roof, and they were shooting people randomly. That's what he said. So can you believe 4 or 5 snipers killing 42,000 people? Can you believe that? In which world or which fantasy world does that happen? Even if there were 500 snipers, they could not kill more than 100 or 200 a day. And he's talking about 42,000 5 snipers have killed. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous, guys. The lies are just becoming more and more crazier each day. So yeah, so it's just lies after lies coming out of his mouth, and only his MAGA supporters, his low IQ MAGA supporters, they're the only ones that seem to take it. unfortunately for the MAGA supporters, they are really hurting now with the high gas prices. And I've noticed there's a lot less MAGA people online supporting Trump. While before they used to support him, literally, if you say anything bad about Trump, they would all attack you online. But now there seems to be less and less for some reason. As you can see, people all over Twitter saying Trump is scared, Trump didn't respond to the Iranians' attacks on the ships and on UAE. Even the UAEs, they were like, why don't Trump protect us? Why don't Trump help us? It was quite hilarious to watch, guys. So this is what Trump has said. Um, he says that assuming Iran agrees to give what has been agreed to, which is, you know, which is already legendary epic fury will be at an end. They call it epic fury, but it's already failed, guys. I mean, come on, this, yeah, epic fury has been a complete failure. So again, he's like threatening Iran. You can see at the end, he says, if Iran basically doesn't agree, then they will start bombing again. That's what Trump has said. I don't know, guys. I mean, look, I don't know what Trump. He's very, very unpredictable. You don't know what Trump is going to do. You don't know whether he's going to attack Iran or he's going to give up and walk away. Whatever he does, he's going to be absolutely slaughtered. Absolutely slaughtered by. If he walks away, he's going to be slaughtered by the Israeli lobby, by the Israelis, by Netanyahu. They're going to release the Epstein files. They're going to absolutely slaughter him in the media. And November is coming as well, don't forget. So if he loses the November elections really badly, they could be impeaching him very, very soon by next year, January, I believe. So he cannot walk away. You know, he's got a big ego. Everybody who knows Trump knows that he's got a big ego. He does not want to lose. He does not like losing. However, he cannot win against Iran. He just cannot win. If he attacks Iran, he's just going to drag himself and the region into a quagmire, and it's going to destroy the economy even more. You know, and Trump is just going to be more and more bankrupt. It's going to bring the rest of America and the world down with him. He's just not going to win. The only option he has is to walk away. But if he walks away, I don't know if his ego will allow him to walk away. Plus, he seems to be controlled by Netanyahu and Israel and the Israel lobby. People like Madeline uh, Adilson, I believe. I can't remember her name. That little Jewish woman with that owns a casino. Miriam Adelson, or something like that. She obviously has a huge sway in what Trump says and does because she paid 200 million in his campaign. Basically, Trump has surrounded himself by Jews, and these Jews are very, very pro-Israel, and they are Israel first. And this is why Trump has been doing everything for Israel and nothing for America. But what is one good thing he's done for America? Has he reduced inflation? Has he reduced the gas prices? Has he reduced the electricity prices? Has he reduced the debt? Nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. And his immigration program, his ICE turned out to be psychotic. They were killing American citizens, and they were shooting American women in the face. Point is, guys, he's doing everything he can to please Israel, and he's doing nothing whatsoever, nothing to help the local Americans. I mean, the cost of this war, we're talking about 60 to 100 billion. We're talking about the cost of this war. If you include all the destroyed American bases, all the destroyed equipment, all the planes, all the missiles that's been used, you know, all of that cost, plus the cost of the operation, sending all these aircraft carriers in the region, the cost of paying army salaries, and the cost of just the basic cost of war. If you add total everything together, we're looking at 60 to 100 billion easily. Could be more. It could be more. Plus, you have to replace all these lost equipment as well. So all of that money could have done so much good for Americans. They could have paid off everyone's health care. They could have given all the homeless people free apartments. They could have given all the kids free education. They could have cancelled all the student debt. They could have done so much with 100 billion, guys. What a waste. What a waste. Anyway, with regards to the war, I don't know, guys, whether it's going to start or not. But I can absolutely 100% guarantee you there will be no war before Trump's trip to China. He is not going to start a war before Trump's trip to China. I can guarantee you that. Because he is no way going to do that. He's not going to cancel another trip to China because he started another war with Iran. I think he's going to go to China. He's going to want some concessions from China. He's going to want a deal from China, and then maybe he might come back and then start the war. Who knows if he doesn't get what he wants? But not before China trip. He will not start the war. I think he's doing all these negotiations and stuff. I don't know if it's fake. I don't know if it's real. I don't know what he's planning behind the scenes. I don't know if he's blackmailed into starting another war with Iran. I don't know, guys. But you can guarantee over the next few weeks nothing will happen until he goes to China and gets some concessions or a deal. Then maybe when he comes back, he might start a war. I don't know. I really don't know. But I do know that America cannot afford another war. Yeah, they cannot afford to fight Iran. Iran has already been fixing all of the damages. They're replenishing all their missiles. But America is not going to get their bases back. America is not going to get their THAAD missiles back, Patriot missiles back. They are going to be extremely exposed. And as we speak, Iran is picking out all the targets right now, and Russia's helping, China's helping. And if this war happens again, America will lose more bases, more people. The Gulf countries will lose more as well, and Israel will be absolutely hammered as well. So it really is not in America's interest to start another war. But end of the day, Trump is unstable. He's not thinking straight. He's very low IQ. So you don't know with Trump. He's not logical. He doesn't think properly. So he might start another war with Iran. Who knows? Nobody can predict Trump, what he will do one day from the next. I've already showed you that. So the Iranian foreign minister, um, Arakchi, has gone to China. And this is the first time he's actually gone to China, I believe. The president of Iran, Pezeshkian, has never gone to China, like not in a official manner. I think he went there when there was SCO meeting, I believe, but not in an official manner. He has not gone to China officially, mainly because he's pro-West. And because of his pro-West views, you can see that um, he's not been taken seriously in Iran. He's not going to Russia. He's not going to China. He's been frozen out of all the negotiations. He's like a person in the background. He's a president by name, but he's got none of the responsibilities. I think they know he's some sort of mole from the inside, and they know that he's working with the Americans and Israelis behind the scenes. That's why they don't give him the power or the say in what needs to be done. So Pezeshkian, I don't trust him, and I know a lot of Iranians don't trust him either. But I think things are changing. They're sending Arakchi. Last week he was in Moscow. This week he's in China, and this is the way it should be. This is how the multipolar world will develop. These three countries need to liaise more, have more meetings, and organize security around the world, and uh, sort out the economics, get out of the dollar, how to, protect yourself from American missiles and sanctions. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to sort out in the world. And I was reading this article here. This young lady who basically was talking about. I actually had a right go at her. So she's basically talking about how China is stuck in the middle. It cannot choose between Iran and the Gulf states. And then she goes on and says that China needs the Gulf states more. You can see she says that China needs the Gulf states more. As you can see here, China, but the Gulf states matters to China's Middle East strategy. So she's basically saying that China needs the GCC countries more than Iran. That's what she's saying. But I actually had a right go at her because I said to her, first of all, you don't understand China. You don't know anything about China. China is absolutely disgusted with the Gulf countries. I can guarantee you that. They are absolutely disgusted by the way they have been completely puppets of America, completely puppets of the West. They have allowed bases in their country and airspace to be used to attack Iran. Basically, Muslim states using their bases and airspace to attack another Muslim country. And this is why China is completely disgusted with the Gulf states, absolutely disgusted. Guys, this woman does not know what she's talking about. A lot of people don't know what they're talking about because China has no respect for countries who are puppets of the West. No respect whatsoever. China respects sovereignty. And this is why China respects Iran over the Gulf countries any day. They would rather trade with Iran than trade with these Gulf countries, puppet countries. And do you know why? I will tell you why. Because if there is a war one day between the United States and China, what do you think the United States will do? First, they will do what they did to Russia. They will sanction China and they will ask all of their puppets to sanction China. So they will ask all of their puppets to leave China. For example, that's what they did with Russia. See, all these big businesses left Russia. Um, you know, Big businesses, American businesses, even European businesses were leaving Russia, and they were replaced by Russian companies, by the way, and Chinese companies. So obviously that hasn't worked. But that's the rule book. They will get these companies to leave these countries. They will get the countries to sanction China, like they did with Russia, even though these sanctions will not work. And the puppet governments and the puppet countries will say yes. That's what they do because that's what they are. They are puppets. But this is why China hates puppet countries because if America tells them jump off, they will say how high. You know, this is why China respects sovereignty. They hate countries who are puppets. And all the countries who have sanctioned Russia because America told them to, they have been absolutely struggling right now. They are struggling because they can't find oil, can't find gas. They have upset Russia, so they're running around the world trying to find energy, and they're really struggling because they've listened to America. So this is why, if there was a war between China and America in the future, these puppet countries are going to be the first to, boycott or sanction China, and especially the GCC countries. If America tells Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE to stop supplying oil to China, they will do it because they are puppets. They have no mind of their own. This is why China hates puppet countries. If they ask Iran to do that, Iran will say no because, it's our sovereign right to sell to China. Who are you to tell us who we can sell to or not? This is why China supports sovereign countries like Iran, like Russia, because those are the countries you can depend on, not puppet countries, not GCC countries. China is absolutely disgusted with the behavior of the GCC countries, and China has told them that. Even Abu Dhabi or Dubai went to China a couple of months ago, and they said that, you know, can you please cancel all your links with Iran? And China basically told them, no. Who are you to tell us who can have who can be our partners or not? Basically they gave him a real good dressing down, and they kicked them out, and rightly so. So these people, they don't understand China. They don't know anything about China. They come and give out all these speeches online and stuff, and again, there isn't many China experts out there, guys. So be careful who you listen to and who you follow. Anyway, that's it for now today, guys, and I'll see you soon on another video. Take care for now. Bye bye.